The reason we only stock D'Addario strings is because D'Addario strings are perfect.
When people come in here, they think that we get them for free or something like that, but we don't. We have no other reason except for dependability and tone.
Hey everyone, this is Chris Kies for Premier Guitar. Today we're in Madison, Tennessee, just outside Nashville, hanging out at our favorite bowling alley, Eastside Bowl in Madison, Tennessee. Gentlemen, how are you doing?
Great.
This is the time of year when we talk about our, most popular and our personal favorite rig rundowns. So should we just jump right into it?
Yes.
Okay. I went up to 12 because I felt it warranted it this year, but hey, we make the rules.
You got a couple runners up?
Yeah, I guess those will be the runner-ups then.
Yeah.
Green Day and Knock Loose.
Ooh.
Were both in the top, well over 100,000 views, and both came up, mid to summer. They haven't had the long runway,
year.
The full year to get the clicks, but had some popularity in there.
Sure. Green Day kind of goes without saying. It's a pretty legendary band.
Yeah.
Knock Loose, man, they're on the up and up,
That's Perry's thing.
Yeah, a little bit of a surprise, huh?
Yeah, I mean, they just got nominated for a Grammy. They're out with Slipknot. They just did Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah.
I'm so proud because you never see hardcore represented in the mainstream. And
So this is the second time we did Knock Loose. The first time we did it was in the end. Nashville's
Wow.
Pit
Yeah.
Rock Club.
Now they're Grammy nominated. Yeah.
Yeah.
God, isn't that
Playing
amazing?
arenas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the end it's
Still there.
the size of your garage.
Yeah.
I'm not even bragging. My garage is bigger.
Yeah, it is.
I don't have a huge garage, but it is much
And
bigger.
then the Green Day one was cool because it was a kind of a redo of the one we did like 12 or 13 years ago, which is one of our more popular ones over the history of the channel.
Yeah.
But Billy, we didn't get included out of time because there was a thunderstorm that happened. We were at the Geodis, the soccer stadium.
Yeah, we had to
really?
evacuate the
We had to
stage.
shelter in, kind of like we did with
That's-
Def Leppard a couple years ago.
That's the story behind the story.
Yeah. And then we were kind of pressed for time anyway. Luckily, Billy's stuff was pretty much almost
same.
identical. So they didn't want to redo it. So if you are curious about his gear, go watch the old one.
Yeah, and then we spent more time because Mike Dirnt had come out with a new Epiphone grabber bass, which is something he's played all the way through the 90s and stuff.
Cool.
Those grabbers are cool.
Yeah.
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 But he had just done a collaboration that was actually announced in the rundown or widely promoted with
we got a
the
little bit of a
Gibson
scoop.
stuff.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so that was cool.
Epiphone was loving that, huh?
Yeah, oh yeah, because they're definitely taking orders now.
Yeah.
So we'll dive into it. Number 10, this one had like the long run, but it was popular right out the gate, was Jason Isbell.
Not
Isbell
surprising.
is a classic, man. That dude has gear.
Yeah, it's funny. What do we do? It feels like we do it in a 3 or 4 year rotation.
Almost every 4 years we've
Yeah.
done it. And it's crazy how even after doing his, what is this, the third time we've done him? It still makes for an hour and a half long episode because Jason has so much stuff.
Treading new gear, kind of like with Bonamassa. We have the intervals, and every time we meet up with either Bonamassa or Isbell, they all have not completely rechanged, but they definitely have a lot of gear that warrants the conversation.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's always interesting too because guy's got a set on him. He's taking out a Dumble on the road. He's taking out, Red Eye, and it's like, it's funny if you watch those rundowns. A lot of guys would either get replicas made or maybe leave that stuff at home. He's like, fuck it. I don't like cars. I don't, I have a 4-door.
This is his
He's
thing.
like, this is my thing.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, he definitely does it for the love. He says, I think he even says it in the rundown or off camera that, I understand this is all extra, the 4 amps, the 10, 15 guitars, but he's like, this is for me.
Yeah.
The audience probably doesn't hear the difference of me playing whatever, but this is for him to have fun.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can relate.
Yeah. I mean, if it's inspiring, it's going to make you play better.
Yeah. It also helps when you're hiring cartage.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would help.
Number 9, I know we had talked a little bit before rolling, because we have our own lists that don't pertain to the views and what you guys have made these the top 10, is Extreme.
Oh,
Nuno
yeah.
Bettencourt and Pat Badger.
Yeah.
That was a fun one.
Yeah.
That was me and you, John.
Yeah, loved it. Well, Nuno is just, God, man, he's such a remarkable musician. I mean, truly incredible. My regret on that one, I was really hoping he would play some more because his playing just blows my mind.
It's beyond the gear when it comes to someone like him. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, and this is a little weird. I am not that drawn to the gear. In these episodes, the stuff that gets me is the stories.
Yeah. For sure.
Stuff is stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was like the kind of really a shining example of that type of thing. Because like Nuno's like, I can play anything.
Oh God, yeah, incredible musician.
In terms of the gear, and it's like it's all about what you come up with your hands and playing.
Right. Yeah, and the fact that that man, I don't know if it's a deal with the devil or what, but he has never aged.
Oh, he looks so. Yeah, I know. He still looks very young.
God, yeah.
You and him both.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, I think we were
What's your
roughly
deal?
Yeah. He's been doing hot plunges, cold plunges, formaldehyde baths.
I think it's dim light and smoke. That's what helps me. Dim light and smoke.
Mirrors.
Yeah.
And then that Pat Badger was fun because he was such a good, nice,
Yeah.
wholesome dude, but his stories were cool because the basses were all from like his heroes.
Right, and I love the fact that when he's a kid, a guitar player comes into the guitar store where he's working.
Yeah.
And they set out on this lifelong odyssey
Friendship,
together.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, him
Amazing.
was it Tom Hamilton from Aerosmith was one of his basses, and the other
Yeah.
one was from Michael Anthony. Because he worked at this bass shop, helped build these basses, get them in their hands in the 80s.
Yeah.
And then he kind of cross paths as you
Yeah.
do when you rise up in a band like Extreme, and he's like, "Hey, you playing those basses?" And he kind of got both of them back because
Yeah.
they
That's
weren't
Wild.
Yeah.
they weren't one of their, I'm sure those guys all have tons and tons and tons of basses.
I can't even imagine.
So they're like, "Yeah, you can take that one back."
Yeah, right.
And here he is playing with them.
Well, you think about it, they're probably, artists of that level are probably given
Anything
10
they want.
endorsement instruments a year.
Right,
Yeah.
sure.
And multiply that by 3 or 4 decades.
Yeah. And that's not even the ones they choose to have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, not even the ones they bought. Yeah. It is.
Another one, number 8, if we're going in that sequential order, is Slash.
Oh, man. Yeah. Yeah. Okay,
Of course, Slash.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I loved about that one was Tash Neal,
That's right.
who's just, he's a great guy. We had gigged together in the past, and I was so happy that I think this project took him from relative obscurity to getting his name really out there. And he's a remarkable singer and just a great musician.
Yeah.
And my favorite part of the Slash rundown was when we were talking beforehand, just Slash and I, and then we was talking about pedal steel, which I don't think that made it onto the rundown.
No, yeah, it was after we.
But you guys were talking about it because I think he played pedal steel in that album,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and he had
genuinely interested in the instrument.
Yeah, his tech was telling me that Slash has him set up his steel at every gig, set it up in the green room, and
So practice.
Yeah, and then he plays it on tour with on a few songs. I think he even did it with Guns N' Roses.
Okay.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
cool.
But he was really into it, so that was fun. As a steel enthusiast, I
That'd
really
be
did
fun
that.
to set him up with like Paul Franklin for an afternoon. Just hit record in the cameras.
Totally.
Right.
Have
yeah.
Uncle Paul teach him some licks.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that'd be great.
Well, moving along, another one, Kingfish.
Man, love that guy.
He's
Yeah.
such a cool dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's another one where the gear doesn't really matter. Like
Doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
playing his off the shelf Fender Tele signature,
Yeah.
and I'm sure that I think the guy's name was Michael Chertoff or Chertoff.
Chertoff, yeah.
Was a signature. He did like the Les
The
Paul
Les
style.
Paulish, yeah.
But man, he could probably play a broomstick.
Yeah. Well, in fact, I remember seeing videos of him as a child. I was going to say little kid, but he was not that little. He was a big kid, but he was playing whatever plugged into a little solid state, PV thing.
Yeah, I bet.
The Mississippi Marshall.
Yeah.
He's from Mississippi, and as a child, just killing it on the kind of on basically a thrift store level rig.
Yeah.
And just killing it. Dude's amazing.
It's
and
in his soul. It's in his soul. It's in his blood. It's in his DNA. It's just
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, and I loved when we were shooting Marcus King over here, and he was talking about the two of them on tour together and hanging out together, and that's just that generation of musicians. It's so cool to see these young guys
Yeah.
so talented and doing so much. So yeah.
And they're both putting in the time. I mean, they tour
Right.
endlessly.
yeah,
They both are
Yeah.
gigging.
yeah.
Yeah. Number 6, I guess, is Jack White.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
great one.
Yeah. And that hasn't had a ton of time online yet.
No,
either.
yeah, I think that'll be one that'll be a slow burn where it'll eventually hit the top 10 overall. But man, John, I gotta put you in the spot because it keeps coming up in a lot of videos that are beyond the rundown.
Yeah.
What was your initial thought when you broke that?
Oh, when I broke the Bigsby,
And then he walks in minutes later.
yeah. I felt like you would feel when you break something very valuable that doesn't belong to you. I was ashamed and I didn't know what to do. It was, yeah. In fact, right now you can hear from my stammering. I am still uncomfortable with it. But he was so kind and funny, and it was great. And what I think that video, what I liked about it, there was a spin-off that we did with Tim Shaw and Chip Ellis.
Yeah.
And the engineer, I can't remember his name, who helped develop.
Oh, Rick Hines.
Yeah,
Yes,
Rick.
who helped develop that amp. And to hear these guys, Tim Shaw is somebody I've admired for forever. You know, incredible guy with his history at Gibson, with those, to this day, those 80s humbuckers that he made are really coveted pickups. And then he came to Fender and did all this amazing work. And to hear how they worked with Jack on this whole art project, that was great. And Chip Ellis is amazing.
Cool
Yeah.
dude.
So yeah, all of his work with Van Halen, and that was really neat. So
So we actually filmed that one at Basement East before he did one of his club gigs, unannounced club gigs, right after that album No Name came out, and it was really rushed. And Dan, his tech, reached out to me afterwards, like, hey, can we redo that? We'll redo it at the Blue Room when I have a lot more time.
Yeah.
And we did, and I'm so glad we did.
Yeah.
And we got you involved that time, and I think, the time, and then getting you involved in that you broke it and not me was perfect.
Yeah.
yeah,
But we had a lot of fun shooting that
Yeah,
at
that
that
was
Blue
great.
Room.
Yeah.
And we had the time, you know, a lot of times, you might not think about this just watching the rundown, but we show up to a venue, we have limited time, we got stage managers yelling at us and all kinds of stuff. But in a situation like that where it's like a studio or, you know, at Jack's Blue Room, we can actually go in, set it up, take some time. But have fun.
Yeah, and you know, let John have manhandle some guitars.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, and I also remember remember how crazy loud Jack's rig is? It is as loud as you can imagine.
It's a jet engine.
Yeah, it is jet engine loud. So I'm already, just touching an instrument like that is kind of nerve-wracking, because you just touch it and it makes all these explosive sounds, and then to have it actually explode. God.
Yeah, and that one was fun because so many we got to see the iterations of the prototype as he was road testing them.
Yeah. Right.
Different things that would like the kill switch got moved. Different things were moved along on the guitar.
Right.
But there's some other ones that we'll never see the light of day. Is that Jazzmaster that had the built-in. I think it was.
it was like a delay pedal or something.
It was an EHX pedal. No, it was the Pog. The Pog
right.
was in it. And
Oh,
he had
yeah.
that.
Built into the guitar.
And then he had the Jazzmaster, or was it? I think it was the Telly that had scalloped frets on it.
Yeah.
But only 12 of them, like the lower 12.
Yeah.
Like it's just all these zany ideas that they're like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
And Fender went along with it.
Yeah.
You put a toggle on it that would do different octaves.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty cool, yeah.
Man, that was a wild day. It was definitely a Willy Wonka day.
Totally.
Anytime you're at the Blue Room, it's a little bit of a Willy Wonka day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish we could have shown that whole interior of Third Man. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
There's little Easter eggs hidden everywhere.
All over. And from what I've heard, it's designed, not even like where the artists hang out, based on Jack's obviously eye for aesthetic and carpentry, but also just being an artist probably on the road the last 20, 30 years. Like, what do you want to feel homey or comfortable when a band comes in? Because that that room off where we filmed is like where the bands hang out before they go on stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very comfortable. I almost wonder what that building was before Jack bought it.
Yeah.
Because no telling. I mean,
No telling.
Because the Third Man Records part of it almost feels like a home,
Yeah.
a house,
Right. And that was a really dodgy neighborhood. Now it's a semi-dodgy neighborhood.
Yeah. It's funny when you go there, if you ever come to Nashville and go there, you'll know exactly who's going to Third Man and who's
It's not.
not.
Yeah.
Next up in the lineup is one that you hosted. It was kind of a chaotic day. I wasn't there, but I know that you guys had shot 2 rundowns. The second one of the day was Jerry Cantrell.
Oh God, man, yeah, that one was nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
You know, I've heard they say never meet your heroes. You know, sometimes you meet them and they're the greatest. You know, like Slash, nicest guy in the world.
Yeah,
This was a situation where it was like, oh, phew, okay, this guy's awesome. You know, because I've heard, you know, Jerry can be a little prickly.
Yeah.
And there was a little weirdness about his signature amp, and I'm a huge fan of the Jerry Cantrell signature. I think it's the best sounding amp in the world, and so I was trying to dance around this like delicate issue with him. You know, he didn't have he could give a shit about talking about gear, but he just graciously did it.
Yeah.
So that was awesome. You know, a lot of times guys are like, no, I put this pedal. He could care less.
Yeah.
He's been a rock star.
But
for
that's
30
what
years.
makes everything we do and everyone we talk to so fun, because even if
Yeah.
you think you know what's going to happen, you don't, based on
Right.
the type of person, where their interests are.
Right.
Like whether it's songwriting, playing, performing, or it is the gear. You know what I mean?
Sometimes it is.
Yeah.
So, and you know, that's, I think, part of the beauty of our show. Like, a lot of people actually find, you know, we did one the other day, and there was one sound from one pedal, and the guy's like, yeah, I made a whole song based on this. And it was like, yeah, man, good gear does inspire.
Oh,
you know?
absolutely. Yeah.
Ideas and for
You know?
sure.
So that was cool. Like, in Jerry's case, like, dude, he's playing the same guitars he had in Alice in Chains. You know?
Yeah.
It's like,
Right.
he loves those guitars. Those G&Ls sound good. Sat him forever.
And I don't want to say kudos, but I think it's cool that he's not running away from Jerry Cantrell as the songwriter.
Totally.
Because, you know, it's like he either has to run and completely, he has to become, I don't know, a hip hop artist to not sound like what people suppose
Right.
Jerry Cantrell is, because he was so intertwined with that songwriting with Lane and then later with William when they restarted it, is that it's either you're going to just lean into it and this is how I sound and my songs are going
Right.
to kind of like with John Fogerty and CCR. It's like he just writes songs that just are him.
Right.
Yeah.
And rather than shun it or try to reinvent himself as this is my solo album and this is Alice in Chains. It sounds similar, so why not use the same gear?
It's hard for guys like Jerry that are in this situation because, like, you know, grunge was such a big deal in the 90s that a lot of people that love Alice in Chains even are maybe casual listeners and not guitar players. So really, the common denominator is always him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Regardless of whether it's William, who's amazing, or Lane, or whoever else he's working with. If you listen to Lane's solo albums, they're so similar to Alice in Chains albums because he is that vein.
Yeah.
You know, like, he was Alice in Chains. He is Alice in Chains. Like, you know.
It's kind of the heartbeat of the
Right,
situation.
totally, yeah.
It's still going to be there. Some people try to really distance themselves when they put out a solo effort, and I know he was touring on that. I think he was opening for Bush or something. That was another thing too.
Right.
Is I'm sure made it complicated with the shoot. Is that he was an opening band.
That was a little
that
tricky.
always makes the time even shorter.
Right.
That we're given.
That's right.
You know, it's hit or miss with what we do, but just, you know, depending. Sometimes the venues are crazy about security.
Yeah.
We've had to send in like photos of our faces and like all kinds of mail to prove that we're American citizens and stuff before. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that was another one of those times where it was like such a big bill. The security was pretty. They were running a tight ship, so it was one of those deals where it's like, hurry up, load in, get in here, wait for 30 minutes. Let's make sure you don't have, you know.
Get your retina scan.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Background check complete. Yeah. So, but man, it was all that to say, it was awesome to meet him. It was a fun rundown.
So that was one of the very first rundowns that I did that I can remember that wasn't the very first one. So you asked me the very first one I did when we started this, but way back when was 3 Doors Down, just because I remember it. It was with Brett. Brett hosted one of our sales guys. Buy an ad from him. And one that I can remember very shortly after that would stands out to my mind to this day is Jerry Cantrell. We did it up in Milwaukee in 2009. It had to have been within the first probably 10 or 15 of them ever.
Yeah.
And it was such a big deal to me. I went up with the guy that wrote and did stuff for us, was Jordan Wagner. I think he's a tech out in PNW now. He goes on tour sometimes with Matt Pike.
Oh, wow.
Hind Fire and stuff. But when we got up there to the venue, 2009 again, like no one knows anything about filming, let alone the internet and YouTube and all that is not a thing that carries weight that it does now. And so we're waiting and he's on stage getting a massage. I know, like
on
face,
stage.
yeah, on stage. The I don't want to say portable, but the
table
masseuse that was on the go clearly was in the Eagles ballroom in Milwaukee, not far from where Dahmer did all his business. Represent Milwaukee,
Right.
Eagles Ballroom in the Rave, I think it's called. It's like a joint venue. It has like 3 or 4 different halls in it.
Right. And it's a really scary
part of the neighborhood in Milwaukee. I don't know what it's like now, but
did you go to the green room? Because it's an abandoned swimming pool.
Really?
Oh, so weird.
It is so scary.
Really?
And the Dahmer thing really is.
It's like walking distance.
Yeah.
It's within a mile for sure.
It is the most frightening green room ever.
Anyways, to finalize the story is that we had to wait. He was finishing getting his massage, face down on the table, and then he gets up and then has a really casual conversation about his guitars, many of which were in the rundown that you did.
Yeah. He was super laid back.
Yeah, he was super laid back after we talked.
Well, Chris, and back then, wasn't the time limit on
videos were 10 minutes. So
10 minutes.
I edited that down because I edited them before Perry started. It was like 9 minutes. Wow. Because we cruised through it all, and
that's all you had anyway.
he was succinct, just like he was with you. He was not a big gear dude.
Yeah.
And so we cruised through it with an edit under 10 minutes, so you can still watch it this day, 360p, baby.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Isn't that amazing?
Quality, yeah. Still out there.
What a different world. Yeah, but this is just 15 years ago, and back then, videos could only be 10 minutes long.
Yeah.
Wow. And they were really shitty.
Shitty, yeah. But it's out there, and so it's funny that that's a big full circle.
What strings are you running?
These are D'Addario NYXLs.
And the D'Addario NYXL.
But they're D'Addario strings, and I've been using their strings forever, and I love them.
D'Addario strings as well.
D'Addarios.
Right.
D'Addario. I've been using D'Addario.
I'm a fan of D'Addarios.
Started using these D'Addarios. I like the D'Addario NYXLs.
These are D'Addario, and I got the NYXLs on here.
Yeah.
Number 4, King Gizzard in the Lizard Wizard. Did not see this one coming.
I can't believe that one.
Is super popular.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe it has that international.
I guess. Also, I don't know if they do a lot of interviews like that they did for us, because of like Reddit, like a lot of their subreddits, followers on that, and then the Instagram people kind of copied the video and shared it.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
Really?
But I didn't see them having a huge rig rundown tidal wave that they did.
Right. Well, I mean, their shit is interesting. Not only their music, but they're playing microtonal guitars and really out there experimental stuff, and like, so it's cool, you know.
Okay, so when you have a successful video like that, you didn't do anything different in promotion. This is all like a grassroots.
Yeah.
The fans just spread the word.
Yeah.
That's great.
Because they are kind of, and this is because like you can pick out 2 albums and it's this type genre. This is this band. They've really, I know it's overused term, but they've really gone the broad palette of music. They
kind of
have
all, yeah.
metal, they have psych rock, they have folk, they have hip hop. They really do cover. And they don't have a bad idea. I joked in the rundowns, like, you guys have never had a bad idea. Because they put out like 27 albums in like 10 years.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's wild.
It's just...
And they have like a real cool cult following, you know.
Yeah, apparently. If you
But they're
get
kind
those
of
kind
jammy
numbers.
when they get into it, no matter the style they're playing or the song or the album. So I think maybe they kind of have a Fish, Grateful Dead thing where the people that love them are real loyal.
Right.
Wow.
And so even if they're not guitar players, I think they watch.
There's something in there for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And Australians are just inherently fucking funny, man. I love them.
Yeah,
just
they
like,
are.
Oh, just everything about them is awesome. I love it.
Yeah. Well, when you grow up in a penal colony.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Surrounded by dangerous animals in the ocean.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, right.
Last time I went, you know, at customs, they're like, you have a criminal record? I'm like, is that still required?
To keep you in or put you in or put you out. Well, number 3 is another redo. Foo Fighters, Chris Shiflett.
Shifty for president.
Yeah.
I love Chris Shiflett.
He's a co-worker, I guess, technically.
Yeah, technically, yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Check out that Shred with Shifty podcast if you haven't. If you're a guitar player, I'm sure you'll love it. But yeah, he was gracious enough to invite us up to Cincinnati at the ballpark there.
Yep, at the Red Stadium there, the Great American Ballpark.
Yeah.
It was hot.
Yeah.
Because I'll get out that day.
Oh, really?
And a huge production, you know. Yeah.
I wore pants to keep the internet happy. Whereas,
you know what? With legs, if I had legs like that, I would never.
But Shifty wore shorts, but he gets a pass because he's a Californian.
Yeah,
surfer guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was hot, but he talked us through all his gear. He had some cool new guitars, the BC Rich, the Mockingbird.
Oh, the Mockingbird is so tight. He had a bunch of cool stuff. Chris always has really cool good ass gear. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think he got the BC Rich tip either from Bukovac. I think Bukovac tipped him to one.
Oh, really?
Or maybe Bukovac downgraded it based on the fact that it wasn't an 82 or 83 BC Rich, because I think in 85 they got worse. He mentions Book for one story or the other. I can't remember if it was a heads up, grab this guitar thing, or if Book had...
Or a warning.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because Book's, I guess, also, I knew he was a big 335 guy, a guitar guy, obviously Uncle Larry in his YouTube channel, but apparently he also has a well of knowledge on BC Riches too.
You know, and Book has a thing where when you see, like in Nashville, when you see instruments listed on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or whatever, if there's something dodgy about it, I've seen Book put in the comments, "This is bullshit."
Oh,
really?
Yeah, before they can take it down.
Love
They'll say, this is, this is a scam. Don't trust this guy.
The vintage vigilante.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I'd trust him about for more than anyone else on
and
earth.
It's a very kind service.
That is, yes.
As a warning to our little community, not so little community.
I got to stay for that Foo Fighters show, and man, we go to shows all the time. Been going to shows my whole life. Played millions of shows, but man, going to a big show and then going to see the fucking Foo Fighters is a night and day experience, man.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the Great American Ballpark was completely sold out.
That's wild.
Just seeing, the sun going down and that many people was like,
wow.
Okay, this is a real deal rock show.
Do you remember who opened?
Oh,
Did
man.
you even watch?
Jimmy Eat World was on that tour.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think it might have been Joan Jett.
Joan
Really?
Jett, I think opened, yeah.
How cool.
I know, like Emil and the Sniffers. Speaking of Australians that rule, they rule. Declan's a great guitar player. I want to say Idol's open for him. Yeah, there's like different bands open for him.
So it was a
big
festival-esque
Kind of, yeah.
show.
The bands were hopping on and off throughout the tour. Like 3 shows, and then they, get a new crop in.
Yeah, I mean, beers were definitely $25, so it was definitely like a festival.
Yeah, right.
You needed some of those pit diapers.
Jeez, I know.
From Death Water or Death whatever.
Liquid Death?
Yeah, Liquid Death. Death Water. Have you ever seen those, the pit diaper?
No. I don't want to. Can we skip the...
I'm going to have a box sent to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Check it out. Don't worry about your search history. Just look at it.
Yeah, right.
Number 2, Pantera.
Of course.
Yeah.
How fun was that?
Yeah. It's your white whale, man.
Yeah,
it's funny because that was one I started it way back when, knowing full well at that point that Dimebag had left us, but it was still something I'd always dreamed about. Kind of like how you would say, like you would do Django.
Yeah.
Like because I would not even so much because I gave 1% care about his Randalls or his Washburns or his Deans, whatever the current contract status was. I would just wanted to be around his persona, like who he was or who I projected him to be based on the limited interviews I did see of him growing up. The vulgar videos.
Can you show your dime tattoo?
It's on my leg, but it's on my. Speaking of my legs, covered up.
Yeah.
No, I have a Dimebag tattooed on my calf.
So look back through some old videos where Chris is wearing shorts and you will see his commitment to
that was way before I started at PG.
Yeah.
That was shortly after his premature death, his murder. But it's funny how those types of things, I would have never dreamed of working at a guitar magazine and doing guitar videos. I was just so into Pantera.
Well, back then there were no guitar videos.
Yeah.
Right.
There was like
this is 2000.
Hot licks.
Yeah,
that's about it.
It happened in December 2004. I would say I probably had it on me before 2005 was over.
Yeah.
And I had no idea that I'd end up doing this for a living.
Yeah.
It was just something that as a 20-year-old I committed to really quickly.
Manifesting.
But like at 20, it's funny, at 20 I was like, just like I'm sure all y'all, your decisions were real fast. Yeah. I just said yes.
Right.
Yeah. Really grateful that there are laws determining how early you can get tattoos.
Yeah, well, I kind of, sidestep that when you have friends that do it.
Yeah.
Out of their homes.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mom. And the last one would be Tool, at least in the top 10 here.
Man.
Tool.
No kidding.
Yeah. And it was just the bass player. We did Justin Chancellor because Adam was cagey about his setup as he has been for years, but
That is shocking.
really, I just don't think
Well, I mean,
they're a huge band.
It's a huge band.
Huge.
But man, I didn't realize it would warrant more hits than everybody.
Any way that I try to decipher the list, because it's like, okay, if you put one up in January and you put one up in July, that's not a fair fight because they don't got enough time.
Oh, sure, yeah.
We
So
try
I
to
try
do
to
by
do like
average
clicks,
monthly.
average clicks, and then I also did what was their initial wave, the
Right.
first month, because everyone's got a month up. So
Yeah.
let's do that, because that seemed like a fair fight.
Yeah.
Because the algorithm really kind of, at least our content, really slows it down after about a month.
Yeah.
Unless it's really sought after, search, whatever. And anyway I split it, that one was always coming out on top.
And this is what, roughly 52 a year that we do?
Yeah.
52
No, it's
Out of
definitely
52,
52 a year.
it's and
We
they're-
did some massive ones this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
I mean, we named them all.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly.
Yeah, quite a few.
You know
of
what
them,
though? I liked some of the little ones, like the Kelly's Heroes. You know.
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
that's great.
If y'all get a chance, and these are just friends of mine in Nashville, and they're playing clubs, but Joe Fick and Luke McQuarrie are some of the most remarkable musicians you'll ever hear.
If you're going to take a Nashville vacation, kind of like, what would you do for 72 hours in Nashville? Going to Roberts on a Wednesday through Sunday night, or is it Saturday? Wednesday through
Yeah.
Saturday?
Yeah.
6 to
Yeah.
9:30. That's one of your stops.
It's almost like back when Nat King Cole was playing clubs around LA back in the day and honing his putting together his whole show. It is that level of talent that's just in a club.
Yeah.
These guys are great, and they're totally under the radar. And Chris, I'm glad that you extended it to.
I think I want to do more and more stuff that celebrates where we're at. We're in
Yeah.
Nashville. We're a
Yeah.
music city, guitar town. It's why not? I don't want to use the word lightly, but it's an institution, Roberts, because all the people the alumni or alumnus, is alumnus that have come through Roberts and
Yeah.
Don Kelly's
Oh,
band.
yeah.
Right, for sure.
I mean,
Absolutely.
Simo, Brent Mason,
Yeah.
Guthrie, Red
Daniel
Volker.
Donato.
Yeah.
In fact, we should
Janie
do Daniel.
Simo.
We should try and run up Daniel down the road.
Oh, for sure.
Down the road.
It's just we've never been able to sync up.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times the only time he plays gigs in town is, I think it's happening this weekend or last weekend, is his Cosmic Country weekend. And he always brings in all these, big hitters and friends, and it's too much
complex,
chaotic.
yeah.
Again, making our job even harder.
Yeah. Anyway, Daniel, we'll get you eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that we got Jedd Hughes.
Yeah.
I mean, again, an under the radar, wildly talented artist.
It's funny because sometimes people will comment, suggest, and that's where we get ideas. Because I'll check out the music or whatever. They're coming through town, we'll hit them up.
Yeah.
And sometimes we as a team have to decide, like, this guy's worth knowing about. Our
Yeah.
audience will dig it, and I think Jedd was that.
Yeah, for sure.
Because he's such a Nashville guy that people here know of him, or if you're recording, you know of him. But I think the internet at large might not know Jedd, and they should.
Sure, yeah. And that's the way it works for a lot of artists. They can be very talented, get a major record deal, get this, and then they disappear into the ether for whatever reason. Whoever can crack the code on what succeeds, I have no idea what it is. But I'm glad that we can give a shout out to people that don't have that recognition, but certainly their talent warrants it.
Yeah. Are there any other ones that you off your list, John?
Sturgill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one I,
I
didn't
mean-
see coming. Like that one, I've been throwing up that Hail Mary, that
Yeah.
half-court shot for years.
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere, it's
Like,
like,
yeah.
sure, let's do it.
But it was great. And I always low play a certain tier of artists.
Yeah.
I low play them in a sense that, hey, the artist doesn't need to be involved. The tech will typically gladly show us through the rig. And that's kind of how I pitched it.
Yeah.
And like, yeah. And then they replied, yeah, they're in. Lauer and Sturgill will do it. I'm like, and I replied even in the email thread, like, Sturgill's going to do it? And they're like, yeah, this sounds fun to him.
Right. And it what I loved about that is it settled a personal mystery. I've been wondering about that 335 because it's got that weird headstock on it, and you need to watch the rig rundown because he talks about it, but it's something they did back in the day in some music stores. And
Yeah,
it's-
Memphis or St. Louis.
Yeah,
or something?
Memphis, Mary's Music, I think he said.
Yeah.
I would love to see other guitars that was done to.
yeah.
Because god damn, they had no idea back then when they
Yeah.
were doing this, what they were doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they didn't know, but it also, like, shit, how many survived?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, yeah.
That 335 sounds phenomenal.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sure there are some others out there. You know?
Oh yeah. The irony of you pay for the big, the upsale, and it diminishes the value of it. Yeah.
No, that was a long time one. That was what we wanted to do that one as a team for a long time.
Yeah.
And again, one of those like, oh, meet your heroes. That guy was awesome.
Yeah.
Sturgill was like such a great actor. He was such a nice dude. I love his music.
I loved when you were talking about Righteous Gemstones.
Oh man, he was cracking me up.
Yeah,
I got a little insider baseball on film in the Gemstones.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite shows, and god damn it if he isn't just hilarious.
Yeah,
in it.
he was great.
Yeah, he's really, really
And
good.
he sang.
Yeah.
You know?
The song he did for it is amazing.
Yeah, it's on Spotify.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
One that was on my list. Another one that was on my list because that was fun was speaking of openers and stadium acts was Rancid.
Oh, how fun.
We got to do Matt Freeman. He was the most humblest dude
Nicest dude. Golly. It's funny, like I grew up just listening to that dude's bass tone every day of my life.
Yeah.
You know, from middle school to adulthood, and it's like, then you meet him and he's like, oh man, I gotta call you. I got some questions about editing. It's like, yeah, okay, Matt Freeman, call me. Yeah, sure.
I'm glad you left it in there, as at the end of the rundown, right before his tech, Warren Lee jumps in to talk about his amp and his pedal, which is a Porkloin, which is always on, is that he like stopped the interview, not stopped it, he said thank you to me, and then he comes to Perry, who's behind the tripod, and like, thanks a lot, man.
Yeah, just
like,
I love these. I watch them all.
Like no one ever does that because they know that that's not what you do when you're on camera as
you don't
as a
break the
guest.
fourth wall.
Yeah. Matt Freeman was like, hey man, thanks a lot for coming out and filming this.
Yeah, that's cool. That was also, it was just a fun day of shooting. Like his tech, Warren Lee, was out with Hatebreed for forever. So
Slayer.
and he's out with Slayer all the time too. And we've toured together before, and so it was fun to like run into some buddies that I haven't seen in a long time. And
Yeah, Rancid opened for Green Day, so that was what that was.
Isn't it interesting though how before Rig Rundowns, I didn't listen to that genre, you know, and it always seems so angry and so I mean, like even the names like Slayer and Rancid. I mean, these are not positive names, and you meet them and they're all
nicest guy,
and they're all kind people. We're just. It's almost like we're just a bunch of music nerds.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
You know,
Yeah.
like it's almost like I don't know, almost like the theater group in high school. Just sweet people that put on a costume. You know?
Yeah.
It's leather pants.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it is a fun thing about the rundown. I learned about different musicals. I like Hermanos Gutiérrez.
Yeah.
If you haven't heard them, we did a rundown. Chris hosted it. I shot it. These brothers that make. I mean, it sounds like the soundtrack to a Tarantino movie, but it's just so fun and spaced out and cool, and like I learned about all kinds of new music because of the rundown.
Yeah.
I love it.
I think that's what goes back to John's earlier point about not being about the gear. I mean, it's cool when someone has a 59 Les Paul, but what's cooler about that is when like Jason tells about how he got it from the Ed King family,
Right.
and why it means so much to him as a Skinner and Southern rock guy and Alabama kid.
Growing up in Alabama.
You know what I mean? Like,
oh my God.
So that it's not so much like, oh wow, this is a 600 or whatever the price tag is. It's carrying on the tradition of guitar playing.
Yeah.
That's the cool story, and that's kind of what ties it in. Because I don't want to throw you guys both under the bus, but I will. Because beep beep, here we go. But when you guys started at PG, you guys weren't gear guys. I'm not saying that you are now.
No,
but,
not at all.
No, I'm definitely more into the lifestyle stuff. But there is gear that I love, obviously.
Yeah, but like you guys, it wasn't like when we were like, oh, we're doing this rig rundown thing. We'd like you guys to take it over in Nashville. It wasn't like, oh yeah, I've been watching those for years. Like people watch. It was kind of like you were miffed.
I didn't even know.
That
I didn't
it was
even
an
know
interest.
That, I had never seen a. I'd been writing for PG for a while, but I had no idea that we did videos.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, my demographic reads and doesn't really watch videos.
Look at the big brain on John over there.
But
you can read?
Yeah, well, yeah. But
sometimes.
But I'm like my approach to gear has always been very utilitarian. But the great thing about this gig is, for instance, we just did that EMG thing.
Oh yeah.
So okay, this is a little bit of a detour.
The video will be out, so we can even see it. Real
Okay,
quick.
great. So yeah, I've always been very utilitarian, and we did a tour of EMG, and I began hearing about these pickups. Like, well, and Perry said, yeah, man, it's not even so much about the tone, it's about the way you play and the responsive.
Response, yeah.
And I thought, well, hell, I'd like to play better. So we, EMG said, well, let's put a Strat pack in. So I chose a Lukather because I'm a huge fan of his work. And I put them in, and we just did this little video that you'll be able to see soon. And I played with it, and I did a gig with it the other day. I'm like, my God.
Yeah, how was the gig?
Great.
Sounded good, huh?
This Strat that I bought 30 years ago.
Brand new.
Yeah, brand new.
You said it was your first new
My
guitar.
first new guitar I've ever bought. I bought it from the artist rep in Nashville. They gave me a cost deal 30 years ago, and or a cost plus 10. And I've probably changed pickups, I don't know how many times in it, and just beat the doo out of this guitar. And I popped in that thing, which I didn't think I could do.
Yeah,
popped
we
it
did
right
it.
in. Yeah, we did it together. Chris is like, don't worry, I'll be there.
Yeah.
we'll
We won't
figure
start
it
any
out.
fires.
We'll figure it out. And then I just played a gig, and it's like, oh my God. And this is shit I learned on the job. So I'm on the Earn While You Learn program. I am really grateful that I've I've picked up these little tips from this infotainment.
Yeah.
You're an active pickups guy now.
In that guitar, it's made all the difference, you know. And like I said,
Yeah, the video you can really hear the difference.
oh man, and I just post one on Instagram because it's like, God, man, it's just a like phone on the floor.
Yeah.
Let's see if this actually is better. And
Yeah.
it hugely
interesting.
better. Yeah.
I'm a total active guy. I love EMGs. With that said, I'm playing super high gain, punk rock and metal and stuff.
Yeah.
So I've never even, I guess in my brain, an active in a single coil thing like a Strat situation would probably be even better, because the idea is to get the loudest, cleanest,
Yeah.
most
Well,
pristine
yeah.
signal. So if you're, if you got a preamp on your pickup, in that case, yeah, I bet it does sound
Yeah.
freaking awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, that must
It's
be why so
wild.
many basses have active pre's.
Right.
Right.
Because it just in the headphones, in the room, but even in the headphones, it was just wild hearing it back to back.
Right.
Even though it took us, however long it took us to get the guitar, the
30
swap.
minutes.
Yeah.
30
But
minutes, and
that's
that's
it.
with me
I still had
messing
that
it up.
idea in my head of what that Strat sounded like, and then you played it with the EMGs, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Wow.
Huge difference.
Yeah.
Huh.
Oh, shocking.
Learn something new every day, guys.
So
Yeah.
check that out.
Yeah.
So
Some other
this-
ones I wanted to give a shout out to was Lemmo.
Oh,
Michael
Michael Lemmo is awesome.
He's a guitar dork from Norm's. He does Norm's Guitar of the Day after Agnesi left and went to Gibson. He took it over for him. He was on a solo tour where he was out with a singer-songwriter that he was opening with, and then played with him as the headliner. He played guitar with him. But he was really cool, and
Fun hang and
yeah.
interesting stories. And if you guys think that you like Van Halen, go listen to Michael Lemmo's story about meeting Van Halen.
Yeah. It was a cool afternoon.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
He was like 12. Another
That's
one.
a sweet story.
Yeah, it's
Another
so
one
cute.
I really liked was Loathe.
Loathe. Wow.
Just because it was a band that I hadn't heard about. Comment section told me to listen to it based on, let's say it was in a Deftones rundown or something, and someone commented, and so I listened to that on Spotify or whatever streaming device.
Yeah.
Or
It's
streaming
definitely a band
platform.
I've gotten turned on to
because of the rundown.
Sure.
And then when I saw them, because they were opening for Knock Loose,
I think they were on that tour, yeah.
yeah, and that's when we did both those together. Is that one turned me on to them as a band, as a fan now.
Yeah.
You got any favorites that come out to mind?
Of this year? Man, here's a funny one. In Flames was a bucket list for me.
Oh, yeah.
If you guys are into that sort of thing, it's just one of my favorite bands of all time. It's so funny to me that we have been working with Chris, their manager, for years to try to get this rundown. Finally happens. Get it in the can. Everything's good. I think a week later, they completely changed their amp setups.
Oh, yeah.
Like they went to Synergy. So it's like, whatever, now we can do a new one. But it is just funny. The timing of that one was like, man, we fought tooth and nail to get that rundown, and then it finally happens. And then a week later, they completely changed their
the
rig.
rig switcheroo.
Yeah.
Man, it's funny how much that happens too. Where you'll see someone
All
do
the
that
time.
before either we get it online or shortly after it is
Right.
online. Someone does a rig revamp,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
but they're also obviously chasing the tone, the quest that never ends.
Yeah.
Right? Who isn't? I mean,
Yeah. Right.
I mean, as long as they're questing, we'll be recording.
yeah.
And
It is funny to me though sometimes on that quest because it's like we all do it. We're all musicians, but on rundowns the tech will be like, "Oh yeah, this is the best this rig's ever sounded," and blah 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 blah. And then the next time you see him, it's totally new shit.
And a new tech.
Yeah, and a new tech.
Yeah, that guy didn't know what he's talking about.
Well, I think on that note, guys, is there any ones that you're looking forward to for maybe possibly 2025 before we get out of here? The one that I'm thinking of, and this is, I mean, I do like them, but they're not on my top playlist when it comes to anything harder, faster, aggressive. But I know it'd be great for our channel. It'd be Metallica.
Of course.
Oh, God.
They're coming to Nissan in May.
Obviously.
Wow,
Come on, dudes,
man.
if you're watching this.
I wonder if he'll bring Greenie.
Right?
Maybe for that one-off, maybe.
Boy, if we put a bug in their ears now and they say yes and say, by the way, bring Greenie.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
I wonder if Kirk Hammett will ever put EMGs, since he's an EMG guy, into the Greenie.
No.
Right where they belong,
No.
goddammit. 81, 85, put them in there.
Yeah.
Just screw him right to the wood.
Yeah. I did really like the EMGs, but no.
I'm excited. I just saw that Maiden is touring full US, so if we can get Maiden, I would be so stoked.
Yeah.
Because I'll take my dad to see Iron Maiden, because that's always fun.
We'll put him behind camera. He can help.
Just let him roll. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Make
just
sure the
nothing
red
but
light is
jean
on.
shorts and New Balances, baby.
Oh, yeah.
That's actually one of
Iron
the
Maiden
concerts I've been
t-shirt
to.
tucked in, babe.
I was going to say Slayer and Iron Maiden are the only bands that I've gone to where it's okay, or shows I've gone to where it's okay and acceptable, or maybe even encouraged to wear your t-shirt of the band you're going to see.
Oh, yeah, I see that a lot. In that
Yeah, it's Slayer. Slayer and Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm coming to see
Definitely.
Iron Maiden. I got Iron Maiden on.
They didn't get the memo.
I think the other one that I would want to make happen on a selfish level for the channel would be Pearl Jam. I know that.
Oh, yeah.
The Creedy Stone. A lot of people would want to know about that gear.
Are they coming near Nashville?
They're playing Bridgestone on my birthday, 41, May 6th.
Well, then the universe has spoken. That's
Yeah,
gotta
right?
happen. Jeez.
The Gallagher brothers are watching. I know you guys are playing some shows.
Yeah.
If you want us to run your rigs down, we'll come do it.
Yeah, that would be a big one up in us. I think the nearest one for us would be Soldier Field in Chicago.
Wow.
So that would be definitely something to get.
Yeah, that's on the calendar for sure. Fingers crossed, toes crossed.
You guys let us know. I mean, what do you want us to us to cover?
Good call out. Yeah.
Is there anything we're missing?
Yeah, let us know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I still want to get James Burton, who's he lives right down the street, and the man pretty much invented that whole skinny string Telecaster thing. He's on my list, so we'll see. We've been trying for a while, but that's one I'd really love to get.
God, that would be a good one.
Yeah.
Just from a historical standpoint.
Yeah, and James, I don't think he even cares what amps he's plugged into.
Probably not.
It's a Fender, whatever, and there's no real pedals, and it's a Telecaster, but still, it's James Burton.
We came for the stories.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We can play it.
Yeah, that's our guy.
All right, leave a comment in there. See what we should do for next year. Thank you, guys.
Happy New Year's, guys.
Hey, thanks for watching.
Yeah, thank you.